Good morning, and we are in chapter 4 of Mormon, Book of Mormon, and we're just going to get into it. It's not the greatest amount of scriptures. It's probably the ones that, one of those that really is depressing more than anything else, but we go through these because, well, we go through things like this in life, and where things just don't go the way we want them to. And I think he's painting a picture of what is going on and why these things are happening. And he teaches a few truths here, but he's putting the record down. He's putting the record down because he knows that he must. It's been said that this needs to be. This is where prophets have prophesied would happen, and he knows that he's living these prophecies, but they're not nice, and they're not the great and wonderful, grandiose ones that we'd like to hear. Where the millennium has come and everybody is happy and everything is great. This is really hard, and really hard for him, and what he has to do. So let's just read and see what happens here. Now it came to pass that in the 363rd year, the Nephites did go up with their armies and battle against the Lamanites out of the land of desolation. Notice they went out of the land. Last time we were talking that Mormon gathered the people. He built up their fortifications and did everything he could, much like Captain Ronai did. He's using a successful playbook, but these guys are not playing the way they should. And it came to pass that the armies of the Nephites were driven back again to the land of desolation, while they were yet weary. And Mormon prepared them, got them set up, and then he says, I'm not leading you anymore. And now he's not leading them. And he said, here, you can defend these cities. At this point, they say, no, we're going to go out and fight the Lamanites. We're not going to just sit and wait for them. And it came to pass that the armies of the Nephites were driven back again to the land of desolation. And while they were yet weary, a fresh army of Lamanites did come upon them, and they had a sore battle. Notice he's using they, not we or anything like that. He's not in this battle. He is an idle witness, as he called himself. Insomuch the Lamanites did take possession of the city of desolation, and did slay many of the Nephites, and did take many prisoners. Now this city desolation has the right name, and it keeps coming up here. And the remainder did flee and join the inhabitants of the city of Teancum. Now the city Teancum lay in the borders of the seashore, and it was also near the city desolation. And it was because the armies of the Nephites went up unto the Lamanites that they began to be smitten. For were it not for that, the Lamanites could have no power over them. Mormon set them up for success, and they ignored that. How many times do we have prophets that try to set us up for success, give us the tools that we need, and we think, well, no, we can do it better. We can do this. We can do it our way, and it will turn out just fine. Sometimes we do that, and we find that, well, no, actually, we should have just followed the rules. We see where he had learned a lot of this stuff from previous generations. This is the same thing that the armies wanted to do when rooting out the Gadianton robbers back in Helaman and 3rd Nephi, I think it's 3rd Nephi, that they said, let us go up in the mountains and fight them. And Moroni says, no, we don't want to do that. That's really stupid. We're not going to do that. We're going to wait for them. And they did, and they destroyed the people at that time. But they're not listening to that. They're not listening to, hey, I've set you up for success. All you have to do is follow. But behold, the judgments of God will overtake the wicked, and it is by the wicked that the wicked are punished. He's notice the way he says this: the judgments of God will overtake the wicked, and it is by the wicked are punished. And we see that in Isaiah as well. He talks about king of Syria coming down and punishing basically everyone in their way, basically, but punishing Israel. And then when the king of Syria wants to take credit for that, God says, actually, no, it was me, through you. You're not as great as you think you are, and you're going to fall because of your wickedness in yourself. And anyway, back to this story. For it is the wicked that stir up the hearts of the children of men unto bloodshed. And it came to pass the Lamanites did make preparations to come against the city of Teancum. And it came to pass that 364th year the Lamanites did come against the city of Teancum, and they did take possession of the city of Teancum. So it's 60 and 4 years. That makes Mormon, I'm not doing my math very well, but it's about 53, 54 years old at this time. And it came to pass that they were repulsed and driven back by the Nephites. And when the Nephites saw that they had driven the Lamanites, they did again boast of their own strength. And they went forth in their own might and took possession again of the city of desolation. Now all these things had been done, so now we're back in the city of desolation, and you're going to see it just goes back and forth. And all these things had been done, and there had been thousands of slain on both sides, both Nephites and Lamanites. And it came to pass that 366th year had passed away, and the Lamanites came upon the Nephites to battle. And the Nephites repented not of the evil they had done, but persisted in their wickedness continually. So he's saying just there's no, they're just not there anymore. And it is impossible for tongue to describe or man to write a perfect description of the horrible scene of blood and carnage which was among the people, both of the Nephites and of the Lamanites, and every heart was hardened, so that they delighted in the shedding of blood continually. It's hard to imagine, but that is, let's just get through this one. I think there never had been so great wickedness among the children of Lehi, nor among the house of Israel, according to the words of the Lord, as was among this people. I like the fact that it says according to the words of the Lord, because right there, if you look at that, he's not saying this just because he was living in it. He was saying it because that's what the Lord said. And that's why they're destroyed. Nobody was repenting. Nobody cared. They only cared about shedding of blood. There was anger and all sorts of things. And if we think we're totally different in our time period, well, I hate to say it, but if you looked at how they do the elections now, these years, it seems like there's anything short of bloodshed on some of those election years. And politics, how long would it take to just have everything break down sometime? and everybody fighting each other. It doesn't seem that far off. And we have seen genocides in our lifetime in many countries and cultures. You've got, I don't even want to name them all, like, the Syrian problem that Russia and Ukraine, all these wars going on, and it may seem like it doesn't affect us very much, but it does. And hopefully we're seeing the good in people, and that there's still a lot of good in people. This people was not good, nor among any of there's just not been any worse off than they were. And hopefully we don't see it in our day, but it doesn't take much. And it came to pass that Lamanites did take possession of the city of desolation. There we go. This desolation is going back and forth, and this, because of their number, did exceed the number of Nephites. It's like, well, it's just a number game now. It's not because of this or that. It's just a number game. If they have more people, they're going to take it. And they did also march forth against the city of Teancum, and did drive the inhabitants forth out of her, and did take many prisoners, both women and children, and did offer them up as sacrifices unto their idol gods. Somehow they've replaced God with idols. Somehow they've said, this is our God. I don't remember ever seeing as much this idol worship in the Book of Mormon until now. There might have been some, but this is next level. They're thinking, well, there was a lot of power for 200 years of this understanding of Christ, and there was all these miracles. Now they have to replace it with something that would draw people away from that, and it seems that they did it by making idols. At least the Lamanites did. And it came to pass that 370 year, so 60 and 7th, sorry. So 360 and 7, that's about 57 years old, 56 years for Mormon. So he's getting older. The Nephites being angry, in fact, that's about my age, is what he would be here, because of the Lamanites. And remember, he's not leading the people now. Mormon isn't. He is sitting back and letting them fight it and say, see, this is what's happening. And the Nephites being angry because the Lamanites had sacrificed their women and their children, that they did go against the Lamanites, and did with exceeding great anger, insomuch that they did beat the Lamanites and drive them out of their lands. So they had a reason to fight more this time. And the Lamanites did not come upon against the Nephites until 375th year. So you see that 375th year is that gives a break of quite a few years. So that's what are we looking at? 60 and about 65, 64 years old for Mormon. And this year they did come down against the Nephites with all their powers, and they were not numbered because of the greatness of their number. And from this time forth did the Nephites gain no power over the Lamanites, but began to be swept off by them as the dew before the sun. What a description. Swept off by them, even as the dew before the sun. And you can just imagine just this, I don't know, it's really sad. And it came to pass the Lamanites did come down against the city of desolation. There's that city again. appropriately named, and there was an exceedingly sore battle fought in the land of desolation, in the which they did beat the Nephites. He's kind of giving you spoiler alert. They're just not going to recover from this. And they fled again from before them, and they came to the city of Boaz, and there they did stand against the Lamanites, and with exceeding boldness, insomuch the Lamanites did not beat them until they had come again a second time. And when they had come a second time, the Nephites were driven and slaughtered with exceeding great slaughter, and their women and their children were again sacrificed unto idols. And it came to, how can people be this way? And it came to pass, and the thing is because the Lamanites are having success, and they're doing these sacrifices. They're probably saying, look what our idols have done, you know. Look how powerful we are because of this, and doing this horrible, heinous thing, and thinking it is all right. And it came to pass the Nephites did again flee from before them, taking all the inhabitants with them, both in the towns and villages. And now I, Mormon, seeing that the Lamanites were about to overthrow the land, therefore I did go to the hill Shem, and did take up the records which Amram had hid up unto the Lord. So what a way to finish. He's seeing where they are, and he's going to make sure that those records are taken care of first and foremost. It's not a pleasant one today, but I hope your day has been pleasant. Maybe it's a Halloween thing or something, residual from Halloween, this horror and this horrible continual bloodshed on these people, but they are just destroying each other. But on the good note, you think about what Mormon is doing. He knows what he saw, and yet this man is the one that wrote the Book of Mormon. He's the one that wrote about the glory of Jesus coming and appearing. He's the one that wrote about faith as a seed. He's the one that wrote all this history and the beauty that we see in a lot of the things, as well as the tragedies. Maybe today we can find those mercies of God in our lives, even if we are struggling with something or other that seems overwhelming. And I hope you have a nice day, and we'll